Because I need to know where we need to tinker, where we need to work, and where we've got to focus our energies. The reality is that we don't have enough time to do everything. And you've got to work out where you're hitting goals and where you're not. And benchmarking is a really great example for that. So for example, when it's annual report season, I have a running spreadsheet that benchmarks across things like turnover, ensemble size, attendances, percentage of non-government funding, number of individual community programs reached, all of this kind of stuff that I benchmark against all the other state majors, all the other dance companies in Australia, all the boutique ballet companies around the world, like the Scottish Ballet, San Francisco Ballet, and then other companies that I just think are really doing interesting work. And that has absolutely inspired our desire to do more work in community outreach, because when you look at those numbers, we might be doing really well from a development and sponsorship space, you might be doing really well from box office numbers, from our company size, but we're not doing very well in community. So it shows us that there's a deficiency there, or that's where we can focus some energy and get some more wins. So I love it. I find it really a comforting way to check where the organisation's going. And the annual reports are there. You can do it all online. It's not hard to benchmark at all. I think you have to, and the way I think about it is you've got to decide on what's sacred to your organisation, and then you have to really honour that. And I think if you are true to yourself and think bold and big, that will be your point of difference. Because the point of difference for everyone is the assembling of the artists and the individuals that make up that organisation and their impressions and their thoughts. So if you're an organisation that is open to new ideas and has great collaboration and a good planning spirit internally and great relationship with its boards, you're going to develop something that's quite unique, because it is the result of all that thinking. And by nature, it is unique, and it has a point of difference. That said, you know, you look at opera, for example. Opera companies are not that different from opera companies. So you can get caught up on trying to be so different, when in actual fact, maybe you should be the same as another company, or model yourself on another company. Maybe not one in Australia, but maybe one overseas. So I think you can get caught up on trying to be different for the sake of being different. You're essentially pitching and you're selling. And if that's not comfortable to you, then find someone on your board or someone in your team who's comfortable to do it. And I think anybody who doesn't road test their application or their pitch to a couple of people to see if they go, oh, that's exciting, when do I get to see that? You know, you're missing an important step. So you have you are pitching for money. The days are gone when the funding is just there, and if you don't have a spelling mistake and you have the right selection criteria, you get it. That's just not there. You've got to stand out from the crowd, and so you've got to dream big. And I think that's where you've got to put the majority of your energy. And I think boards and executive teams should be spending whole days dreaming huge, and then less time actually writing the application. Because once you have that idea, that's what's going to inspire the money. That's certainly what we have done. And there's been projects that at the point of pitching it, in the back of my mind I thought, heaven help us if we get this money, because how are we ever going to get it done? But did you then find the way of doing that? But if you're not inspirational at the start, you know, you'll only go down from there. Look, I think it really depends on where your organisation is, whether it's an organisation that needs to be fixed, transformed, or if it's business as usual. Certainly, just speaking from the Queensland Ballet perspective, in 2010 we wrote a 5-year vision, so same sort of thing, a 5-year strategy, and we wanted to transform the organisation, and it was too big to articulate what happened in year 4 or 5, so we just had themes, and we really broke it down. As the first year was getting the business, organising how we work, that was the theme of the first year. The second one was how we connect, and the third was how we create. And then we really didn't have themes for the other 2, because we didn't really know what would be required then, and it'd be sort of shameful to be so premeditated and so prescriptive at that point of time. However, we did know what company we wanted to be. We knew where we wanted to head, and as it is, we've found that the planning has evolved with that. So I think you can be sort of terrified of the idea of, I don't know what I'm going to be in 6 years' time. Don't be. start with the big. Start with where do we want to be, what's important to us, what would we love, and that's where the dream big comes into it. And then come back and go, well, how would we have to map out that journey? And for us, we always look at it in sort of 4 quadrants. How do we map out that journey from our people? How do we map out that journey from our art? How do we map out that journey from our audience, and how does the organisation map out that journey from the sense of its budgeting, from its governance, from its board, all of that operational side. And to be honest, if you get that big vision and you get a little bit of sort of dot points under those 4 quadrants, the plan is written. You know, I think people get caught up in writing too many words about plans. Our strategic plan, we have a big one that's about 20 pages, and then the other one is 1 page. And the 1-page one's what everyone uses. And it's quite simple. It's what we want to do, where we want to be, how we're going to get there, how we know we're successful. If you can put it on 1 page, you know, you're more likely to live by it. Otherwise, it's just going to sit bound very nicely, you know, in a top drawer.